Hey guys, what's up? It's the Pajama Pants Player, the best in the world. It's John Grande on this Friday evening. It has been beautiful weather out this past week. Absolutely love it. I'm usually kind of a snow guy, like I really do like the winter, and I really like that period of time, just have chill movie nights with pizza, broskies, broskies, whatever. But, I just saw a video from my good friend Kevin T. Smith, aka Big K Horror. If you have not checked out his YouTube channel, check it out. He is awesome, really, really down-to-earth guy, chill as can be. And I watched a video he made on why he got into horror films, like the story of how I got into it. And I really, really wanted to, I don't know if this is a video reply, because that doesn't really, or a video response, because that doesn't really exist anymore. But this is my story, and I'm sure he'd be fine with it, because he's actually given me video responses in the past. So, Kevin, if you see this, kudos to you, brother. Thank you for giving me the idea. But, I have a pretty cool story, believe it or not. I think I was around, I want to say 7 or 8 years old, and believe it or not, similar to Kevin, I never really liked movies like that. And come to think of it, I didn't really like anything with any kind of fear involved. Like, I remember when I was from at least 10 years old, I was scared to shit of roller coasters. I hated clowns. I always hated clowns for some reason. I never really hated dolls or anything like that. Like, that's the stereotypical stuff, I feel like. But, because I had this whole collection of fucking action figures, actually. I still have them to this day. I took them out of the box. Can't get money off them, but I don't know. It's whatever. But, it's one of those things. I was always scared of anything that had the least bit of fear or, drama to it. I just never liked to deal with that stuff. I was a happy kid. I didn't ever want to deal with something that could get me thinking, something that could get me, out of my train of thought. And, we had this house we used to, at least, it's gone now, we sold it, but in Evans City, Pennsylvania, and it was my favorite house of all time. Literally, I have the greatest memories there. It had this brown carpet and this lamp that it wasn't like the switch lamp. You would touch it and it would come on, or you clap and it would come on. It was just, I don't know, it was the coolest lamp. It was like a Senses lamp, not a Senses lamp, Senses lamp, and it was just the coolest little house ever. It was a nice little cubby, you could have the fridge was huge, stocked up with all this bunch of stuff. I used to like the Fryer crackers, and I don't know if anybody remembers these, but the Flintstone push-up pops, those were the shit. And my Flintstone gummies as well. So I was a Flintstones, evolutionized grande, or revolutionized grande, I don't know. But there's this video store right down the street, literally 2 blocks, maybe 3 blocks away, and it was called 48 Hours, and it was this white little dome, and it was the coolest little place ever. And, I used to rent, my typical baby movies, so to speak, like The Grinch, the cartoon version, not the Jim Carrey version, The Grinch, what else, what was that, Monsters, Inc., Finding Nemo, all that stuff, some of the Pixar stuff, some of the, DreamWorks stuff, Shrek 2, I love those movies growing up, and, it's funny to me that, I had always walked past this section, the horror section, because that's where it was weird, because they had the horror section and the kids section next to each other, which made literally no sense to me, because that's so weird. What if a kid wanders into the horror section? You're scared that you could traumatize a kid, and that's actually what happened. I wasn't traumatized or anything, but, I was looking in the kids aisle, kids section, and I came across Child's Play 3. That was the first horror film on a shelf I ever saw, because I usually never look. I'd be I'm not going to see some disturbing artwork image that would terrify me, because I just didn't like that stuff. And I saw Child's Play 3, and I was so enamored by the cover, because it's Chucky's face with just a little blood dripping down. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And then I saw, Child's Play 2 and then the original film right in a row. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. I was looking, and I started looking, I stepped back, you step back, and you're small at that time. Now I'm 6 foot plus, and I stood back, and it's I saw this huge array of films, and I was like, wow, this is amazing, look at all these crazy titles, The Howling, Halloween, Friday the 13th. And Friday the 13th was the one on top. At the very top shelf, you had literally the first film on the top left, all the way down. It had the entire series up to that point, which I don't even think Freddy vs. Jason had been out yet, so it was just the original film to Jason X. Jason X had been out, I think. Actually, I don't even know. It might have been just the original to Jason Goes to Hell. I'm really not positive. I can't remember off the top of my head, but, whatever, you get the point. And I was like, wow. And they had this huge ladder there, you know, and you could climb the ladder at will, like no one would stop you or anything, and you could just check out what movies, you know. So I was like, oh my god, like, because I always remembered the, not Part Two's cover, even though as much as I love Part Two's cover, it's not that one. It's actually a guy with an axe, I think, and it's just a black standee with. And it's the few kids, and that's the original Friday the 13th poster. If you just look it up on Google, you'll know what I'm talking about. And it was just such a cool design. I was like, wow, like that's so cool. You know, it was the old Paramount releases. It was the original cover art. You know, so I climbed the ladder and I grabbed it, and I was like, let's order. Like, can we get this? Can we get this? I begged my parents, and they're really cool about stuff like that. Because honestly, I think I turned out to be a pretty cool person. Like, I'm not tooting my own horn. I'm not stroking my ego. I just think I ended up well. You know, like I'm not like crazy or anything. I just, you know, they were cool with me watching a horror film. They understood that I just wanted to be entertained. I wanted to see what the hell this was. Maybe curiosity would kill the cat or kill the grande, if you will. But you know, we got this chance, and you know. I put it in. I remember I didn't want to watch it with my family, so I went in this back room, which was it was a scary little room now that I think about it, because it had like, I don't know, it had that carpet where there'd be little dust things like on the, I don't even know how to explain it. Whatever. It would have little like fuzzy, like fuzz balls on it, and I loved it. It was such a warm little cozy room, and I had a brown blanket, and the bed was against the window. Like there was a window right by the bed, and you know, if you've seen the later Friday the 13th films, you definitely understand how I could be spooked. And I watched the film. I loved it. I thought it was so cool and entertaining. And then that whole twist at the end, you know, Mrs. Voorhees, holy shit. And I was so enamored with it. I remember running out, just spinning around like, Dad, we got to get the next one, you know. But we should have grabbed them both. I love this. And I remember we used to, you know, that was our vacation house. That's why we don't have it anymore. And we'd go back home or whatever. And then, you know, every time we went there, I would rent one of them. You know, it'd be like one at a time. Take your time with them, you know. So every like few months, I would see the new Friday the 13th film. It was weird. It was almost like these films hadn't been out, you know, even though I probably could have got them where I live, you know. But it was just one of those things. I waited till I got to that video store, climbed the ladder, get the next one. And I remember watching the original 3. I don't actually ever remember watching part 4. I watched the original 3, and I was just I loved them. And I'd rent them every time I go up there, either 1, 2, or 3. I'd rent one of them. I don't know why. I didn't just rent all 3 of them or rent 2 of them. I don't know. It makes no sense. But I was just so enamored with it. I loved it. And then, you know, when we sold that house, I just stopped watching horror films for a little while, and then there was a Hollywood Video closing down by where I live, and they had all these films for $1 on VHS, and I still have some of them to this day. I don't know. There's a VHS right here. I'm not sure what that's not it, but I got Halloween 2, Rick Rosendale's Halloween 2 on VHS for $1. And I remember watching that film over and over again. I just loved the slasher mentality. I grew up with slasher films. I didn't grow up with the paranormal films, the killer doll films. I grew up with, you know, Freddy, Jason. And actually, I discovered Freddy much later. I wasn't into... I grew up with Jason and Michael Myers. Those were the two guys, you know. Hollywood Video almost every other weekend or every month or whatever, twice a month, whatever. And I would just watch these films, and I was so enamored, and I loved them. And then it's just kind of shaped me into the horror fan that I am today, you know. I've expanded. Granted, I know behind me it looks like I'm the stereotypic horror fan, you know, like Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street. To be honest with you, I just love those two posters. I'm not going to lie. I just love the simpleness of this one, you know. And then, I don't know if you've even seen the Dream Master one, but it's just so cool. It has all like the reds, you know, indigos, violets, or whatever. It's really cool. But, you know, I expanded myself. I really have. You know, I got into George Romero and all the zombie films, and I got into, you know, Lamberto Lindsay and Mario Bava and, oh my God, all these guys. Lucio Fulci, you know. Bob Clark, just so many great directors. John Carpenter's other stuff, you know, The Thing, The Fog, They Live. They Live is one of my all-time favorites. And I would get into, it wasn't even just at the point of, oh, this looks like a gory movie, let's buy it. Because that's what the normal person does. You know, they're like, oh, this looks scary as hell, let's watch it. They don't look about anything else. They don't look at who's in the movie unless, you know, they really do care. And there's very rarely a big star in the film, but you know, they just look at it and they're like, oh, this is going to be scary, oh, let's rent this. And they'll take a chance. And you can't take that chance with horror films, because it's either one or the other. It's going to end out great or a fart in the wind, you're just going to forget about it. It's one of those things. You watch it, but then it's over. You know, it's one of those things. And I don't know, it's just, I got into the filmmakers, then I got into certain actors, and I would just watch these. I would rent them and get them from Amazon, because now that, you know, Blockbuster had just closed like 3 or 4 years back, so I would just get them from Amazon every now and then. I get like the, you know, sent DVDs or whatever. I got the Friday the 13th from Crystal Lake to Manhattan box set, you know, just... I loved it. I love horror films. I still to this day love horror films. I will never stop collecting horror films. Horror films will never die with John Grande. That's just the way I am. I love it. It's one of the things I'm passionate about. I know a lot of my friends in my school just don't get that. And it's another thing I can relate to you, Kevin. You said, you know, you would get picked on or whatever, and you were the weird kid that liked horror films. I'm the weird kid who liked horror films too. I still do like, you know, horror films, and yeah, people don't really know what I'm talking about. Or when I wear like when I wear my Gimme 5 Jason shirt, or when I wear my Burning shirt like yesterday, like people will be like, "What is that?" You know, not ever obnoxious to me. I won't lie. Like people aren't like, "Oh, you're stupid. Like that shirt is disgusting" or whatever. You know, people will be like, "What is that?" And I'll tell them about it, and then they'll probably like not listen or just, you know, tune out or whatever. But I don't know. I think it's kind of cool, and honestly, it's hard to convert these people. They're just so. I feel like people now, just if you weren't into it as a kid, it's almost impossible to get you into it now. It's so tough. But, you know, I just, over the years, I just fell in love with it, man. It's one of those passions I have, and I'm just glad I got to share my story with you guys. But that's going to be all for now. Sorry it's been so long. I tried to upload my top 10 WWE title match video. Didn't work for whatever reason. I tried it. It wasn't too long or anything. I just couldn't get it to work. So maybe I'll try to record that one again. Maybe not. Maybe. But the only thing is for sure is that I'm gone for now, ladies and gentlemen. But that is it. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being you. And thank you for supporting the Pajama Pants Player, the best in the world. John Grande out, ladies and gentlemen. Peace.